It's time for Old Roommates. In this episode, we will be revisiting Single White Female, the 1992 thriller. So grab yourself a fashionable new haircut and settle right in.
Hey everybody, it's Brian.
And Christina. Welcome
to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. Thank you for joining us. And today is 1992's Single White Female. And we start, as we always do, talking about then.
So I'm trying to remember where I was when I watched it. I have no recollection whatsoever. I don't remember who I was watching it with. But
you didn't see it at the movies.
I don't think I saw it at the movies. I'm pretty sure I rented it, but it was a long time ago, obviously, which was great. But I will say there is a special connection to this movie in my own life.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I had somewhat of a single white female roommate.
Do you feel comfortable talking about this?
Well, she doesn't listen to this podcast.
You didn't kill her,
as far as I know,
with a screwdriver.
No, okay. She was the single white female.
Sorry. No, but that's what happens at the end. Spoiler alert.
Oh boy, spoiler alert. Sorry, I can't speak today. So Lisa. I used to call her my single white female because
Lisa, our dear friend.
Our dear friend, yes. It's a joke. It's a joke. So she and I were roommates, and we first moved in together. It was right after you left. Mm-hmm. You deserted me to go to New York. Oh, wait.
No. Oh,
my gosh, that's right. I'm sorry. She was first.
Oh, my God, Christina.
I'm losing it.
I replaced Lisa.
I am losing it. That's right. You replaced Lisa.
As if Lisa could ever be replaced.
Right. Irreplaceable, for sure. So she had moved in with me, and within a month, she bought the same exact car as I did.
Oh my God.
And I was teasing her. I'm like,
Lisa.
You are trying to be me. And it was right around the same time as this movie came out. So I'm like, you are trying to be me. And then probably another month or so later, very, very quickly, she had an interview for a job in the same building as I.
Wow.
And that was out in downtown Boston,
yeah.
on Devonshire Street in Boston. And so I would always make fun of her, and I'd be like, it's single white female. And I actually literally just saw her last night, and I said, guess what movie? It reminds me of you. And first she guessed Labyrinth. I'm like, Lisa, you know what? That was our second episode.
Welcome to the show.
And then she did guess it. She's like, oh, it's roommate something. And then she finally guessed it was single white female. So it was my connection to her. Yeah. But I remember it being like super creepy. And I remember being impressed with the acting.
Yes. Even
back then. And I remembered like basically the idea of it, but I didn't remember too many details about it.
Mm-hmm. I saw this movie twice in the theater.
Ooh.
I went to see it with my friend Connie. Hi, Connie, if you're listening. And that I think that was the second time. And the first time I think I saw it with my friend Dan, who I haven't talked to in a million years. But I obviously loved it, so I went back to see it again.
Sure.
Again, the acting. So back then, I remember I watched a lot of film review shows, Siskel and Ebert and all those. And this was the time, historically, where, like, Fatal Attraction had come out 5 years prior. Mm-hmm. And because it was such a hit, there were all these movies that were like Fatal Attraction. So it was, like, this idea of, like, blank from hell. And you filled it in, right? So it's, like, The Roommate from Hell, Single White Female, The Cop from Hell, Unlawful Entry with Ray Liotta. Did you ever see that?
I did not see that.
There's The Stepfather from Hell.
Oh, sure.
There's... I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, The Tenant from Hell, which is Pacific Heights or whatever with Michael Keaton. So it's like all these like from hell type things.
The Doll from Hell? Chucky?
The Doll from Hell. Exactly. Just fill in the blank from hell. And so I really liked it. I think why I liked, because, I'm not a fan of scary or gory or anything like that.
Right.
But what was interesting is that the story is so specific that I was like, well, I don't have a roommate. I'm not a woman, so I can watch this with reckless abandon and not be scared.
To be too scary, exactly. I can't really relate too much, and I didn't think I could either until
Lisa.
Dun, dun, dun.
But I just loved it, and to your point, the acting is phenomenal.
Yes.
And so shall we just jump right into now?
Yeah, let's do it. So I watched it literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
I watched it last night.
And it was there was so much more to it than I had remembered. Like I said, I didn't remember too much about it. Is it my imagination, or was every single scene full frontal nudity? Like, it was, there was so much nudity in it. I was like really taken aback. Yeah. I would have thought that I would have remembered that for some reason. There was a lot of nudity in there. Yeah. Almost like gratuitous. Like, it didn't.
But real bodies. Like, I mean, like, like the boobs looked unaugmented. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you only see boobs now if they're perfect. If they're, do you know what I'm saying? And they both have amazing bodies in this movie. Yes. But I did feel like they're like, oh, this is real. Like when she's running. Not to interrupt you. When she's running to the like in the hallway, it's like she is thin and she's beautiful. Either one, Bridget or Jennifer Jason Leigh. But like they don't look staged. Do you know what I mean? Like they're really like running down the hall, like and just being comfortable with their naked bodies.
Oh, they were so comfortable with their naked bodies.
But I think that's but it's like that scene, the very first scene where the first nudity scene I think with Hetty is when she's like, "Oh, it's mine is yours," and she flings her.
And that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense
because she was uncomfortable.
Bridget was uncomfortable, but. Hetty wasn't. She was basically, establishing that they're much more close.
Yes. Or at least she thinks.
Exactly. Yes. She was so good. Like, her mind was so good. But even, like, but the first scene was her in bed. That's right. Yeah. And she just gets out of bed. And, I mean, you're so used to, I think these days I'm so used to seeing a scene like that when they're in bed and then they get out of bed and they bring the sheet with them. Yeah. Right? Like, true, yeah. Which normally you don't I don't do that. Yeah. I don't know if you do. But in a movie, you typically see that. And this movie, she just hopped out of bed and then she's completely nude walking down the hallway. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. They just had sex. Like, it's real. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of that nudity, which was so surprising to me.
I appreciated it in a way, and not as it wasn't like by any stretch like sexual, but it was like a comfort. It established this thing like, this is my house. Yeah. I'm going to walk around naked. I feel comfortable, blah, blah, blah. And I think to something that absolutely did not occur to me then, but occurs to me now, is like, oh, this movie's trying to establish like, hey, this is messed up. I feel comfortable when I'm home, and then suddenly I don't feel comfortable in my own home.
No, I love that. That's a great point.
Right, with this roommate, and even though she's being as naked as I was, but now something's flipped, and I feel less safe to be, say, naked and walking around.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Brian. Yeah. Every once in a while. Every once in a while.
But also the open doors. Well, everyone keeps their doors open, which like she's like playing with herself.
I think that was kind of intentional in a way.
Yes, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So, where did she find this apartment? And how much money does she have?
No, wait. So that was addressed.
It was addressed in the very beginning, saying it was a rent
stabilized. She got that apartment in the settlement. So when that guy from Steven Jablonski, is that his name? He's in the Netflix One Day at a Time show that used to be on. He makes her the offer for the software, and she would set up the software with him, and they're at that dinner, that lunch or whatever, and he says, well, she's like, well, I think you'll see my price is very reasonable. Right, and he's like, well, here's where I was thinking of playing. And he pushes it back, and she's shocked at the low price. Right. And he's like, well, I did some digging, and when you and your partner split up, you got the software and a huge rent-stabilized apartment. So it's probably very likely she's paying hundreds of dollars and not thousands of dollars for that giant apartment.
It was a huge apartment. And it was supposed to be New York? I forget.
It is, yeah. It's upper.
Yeah, so I thought of you I'm like, this is probably something that's going to stick out for you because you lived in New York so long. And what was mostly shocking to me is the size of the apartment in New York.
And what was funny is jumping ahead to when Allie and Sam see the other apartment. So after everything has kind of fallen out and they're like, oh God, we have to either kick her out or move. And they look at this other one, which is equally gigantic. And Sam says, I can't imagine moving from your place to this. As if it's like a dump. And I'm like, you have floor to ceiling windows in this old architectural building. It's like, that is an amazing apartment too. I don't. And that to me is where the flip would be, because they would both have to be making a lot of money to move into the other apartment. He does say,
and that's the thing.
Half the size and twice the price.
Like, it was very surprising that she, like, right away, like, she'd been weird and sensitive and a little bit scary at that point. Heady. Yes. Excuse me. But she hadn't been that scary that I would give up thousands of dollars and move my life to a new apartment. Like, it was surprising to me that she kind of jumped there as quick as she did. Like, oh, let's move to a different apartment instead of making her uncomfortable.
Okay, so now so this brings up something.
Okay.
Because I love this movie and I really liked it too last night.
Yes,
however, this is where some of the things were glaring. And we talked about this with Fatal Attraction. I think from the jump, I would not have rented to Hetty. Really trying to watch this in black and white.
Yeah.
Like, Hetty was very awkward to me from the very beginning. And she was very like, I'm going to make you some tea, which is a nice gesture. But if I say, no, don't make me a damn cup of tea, you break my sink by accident. Fine. Water gets...
I thought it was already broken.
Well, she said, yeah, you have to take the thing and then it breaks. But she had said, I don't need it. And she's like, let me make you some tea. And did she say no, or she didn't reply? But it was like, she's too in her face. And then she, at the same time, she's very awkward. So then and then they're sitting on the sofa, like 20, 40 minutes later.
Right.
And Hetty actually says to Allie, well, is there any chance, she sees the crumpled up picture. She's like, well, is there any chance that you and Sam would get back together? And she's like, no, I don't think so. And she's like, well, I hate to catch you on the rebound and then have to find a new place to live. That's terrifying.
She already has sort of an attitude.
You're not in the apartment yet. Like, you're not in here yet.
Right.
Yeah. I would have been like, that's a red flag.
Yeah, and it was weird and maybe she was just exhausted. Like, obviously she had interviewed a lot of people at that point.
That's fair.
And she was at a vulnerable moment. She was at a very vulnerable moment. And I think that she just kind of felt like, I need to move on with my life. Like, I need to get this part moving. Yeah. Like, just get away from Sam.
That's fair.
So she might have been in that headspace that it's like, I'm done. I don't want to interview anymore. Like, she seems okay. Like, let's just do this. You know, she fixed my sink. She seems handy, and she can make me a tea. Well, I don't know. Maybe I think that's kind of like she was more exhausted. Oh, Shorty.
No, Shorty.
I think that's more of like, it speaks to where her headspace was. I think that if she wasn't crying in the corner when Hetty walked in, it may have been a different situation. If she would already been like in a clear head and had this interview and said, forget it, she probably would have chosen the other woman that seemed perfectly nice, right?
The other woman who is...
Who was it?
Wasn't it Betty Fenton from Heathers?
Oh, that's who it was, right? Okay, I knew it was somebody. But she seemed awfully nice. Yeah. And I think that she probably would have gone with someone like that. But I think that she was just in that vulnerable state, and she's just like, I just want to move on with my life, and let's just get this done. I don't want to interview anybody else. I kind of feel like that's where it was, or that's where they were kind of going with that.
Again, I think it didn't even strike me watching this a million years ago, but it's like now I think just because it's like you're just like more, someone's gonna move in with you. And
I was there. Like had to do that. Yeah. When you did leave me.
Oh, sorry.
When we get back to that, when he did up and leave me high and dry, I literally had to put an ad out to find a roommate. Like, it was weird. And I remember sitting there at work doing this. I probably should have been working, but I was like putting an ad out, and I'm like, how do I even do this? Like, and I remember actually having people come to my apartment, and it wasn't even like my apartment. Like, I was obviously renting an apartment, but I had people come in. I remember there was one person that came in and they walked and they're walking around the apartment to look at it, right? They went into my kitchen and opened my refrigerator door and looked in my refrigerator. I'm like, how is this going to determine if you're going to be, if you want to live here?
That's really strange.
So obviously that person was like nixed immediately. But it's a weird experience having strangers come into your house.
What are they checking for cleanliness? Like, does she keep a clean fridge?
It was, no, this person, I think it was a guy, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was a guy walking around, and he looked very full of himself. I'm like, there's no way I'm living with this guy. But
really quick,
very strange. Anyway,
so Betty Finn was one of the applicants. Do you remember the other applicant? We're both gagging, by the way, listeners. I'm like, I don't know why. Like,
is there mold in the air? What? Oh, those. No.
One of them was Blanche's daughter from the Golden Girls. The episode where Rose has the heart attack.
Oh yeah. So they all looked familiar, but
they all did. And she was like, and she says, and I was like, wait, oh my god, and I definitely didn't catch this then. She says, I'm an incest survivor. Remember? Did you hear that? Oh my gosh,
I didn't even hear that.
Because I watched with the closed captions.
You have
and she says,
wait, are you sure that's what she said and it wasn't just with the closed captions?
No. It's like, I'm an incest survivor. She's like, I don't know who it was or when it happened. Right. She was like, but I know it happened.
Oh, yes.
That's what my therapists say. I'm like, okay. So
I do remember that.
Nothing like an incest joke. It's like, that's a little strange.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah.
So, but I didn't like the whole thing about, like, if you do the rebound thing. I see, this is my only struggle now watching it. It was like everything, because you obviously know the story. It's like everything Hetty does, you do watch it a bit more intensely. Like, would I have caught these clues? But, like, yeah, even the way she sits on the floor is like a little kid. Like she is odd.
Oh, she's very odd.
Yeah, and then she buys a dog for $350, which seems kind of a decent price? I don't know. But adopt, don't shop. And but then she's like, and then I actually really like that when Allie said, she's like, they were just giving them away at the market, and she's like, they said I could bring it back if I didn't work out, and Allie says, I hope they meant it. Yes, that was great. Ooh.
That was the first time she sort of,
laid down the law a little bit.
Yeah, laid down the law and kind of said, okay, I'm the boss.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that.
That was great.
It was unexpected. And of course, like,
it was really unexpected.
The same result. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, they ended up keeping the dog, but like, I like that it was like, ooh, Allie has there's an edge to her.
Yes.
And
they were both so good.
They were both very good. And actually, fun fact, Bridget Fonda had the choice of either role.
Really? I didn't know that.
And she chose, and I actually think, this might be controversial, I think she gives the better performance. Because I think Hetty is just weird the whole movie until she goes crazy, like until she's truly just out there.
Yeah.
But like Allie does have to sort of deal with a lot of emotional stuff. And like, and I think
I might respectfully disagree with that.
Oh, okay.
I feel like Jennifer Jason Leigh did such a great job of, you believe that she believes that she is normal. Do you know what I mean? Like in the situations that she's in, she believes that they're friends. But then in a split second, she gets paranoid that she's going to leave her. And then she gets angry. And then she's apologetic. And then she's psychotic. Like, she had to deal with a lot of different emotions. Yeah. And I felt like every time she made that little switch, she was super believable. Whereas I do believe that Bridget Fonda had a great, it was really great too. I mean, it was very, very equal to me. But I do think if I had to choose who did a better job, it would be Jennifer Jason Leigh.
She was nominated. I mean, she was very good, but like she was nominated for a Chicago Film Critics Award. She won the MTV Movie Award for Best Villain.
I saw that too. Isn't that funny?
That's funny.
That's great.
And she does kick the dog. and slides.
Did you gasp?
I did gasp.
I remembered that too.
I remembered too. And it's one of those things where I did remember, I was surprised how much I remembered about the movie. Like, anytime there was a setup, like, as soon as, like, the scene would start, I was like, oh my God, I forgot that happened. Or, oh my God, yeah. And, like, the dog, and I was like, oh my God, she kicks that dog.
Yes. So I was watching this with Matt. And she,
because it looks like you're a little puppy version of Paisley.
Yeah, a little Paisley. Yeah. We were watching with Matt, and Matt's, I mean, he's just just a softie.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to animals. And I knew something bad was happening with the dog. I knew something was going to happen with the dog. I was pretty sure it was going to be killed. I didn't mention that to Matt. And when she kicked the dog, we both because it's a realistic kick.
That,
she
I don't know.
Kicks the dog.
She does. I don't know how, because then it says that there's a statement at the end in the credits, as there usually is, like saying no animals were harmed. That, I mean, fine. She shoves it. She basically shoves the dog with her foot, but he goes flying across the floor.
Yes, the dog flies.
Yeah.
And maybe it was. Maybe it was caught by loving hands.
I don't know.
It was very realistic. But I almost feel like I was actually watching that. And first of all, Matt, after the whole thing when the dog dies,
Keep going.
Keep going. So after the whole thing when the dog dies, Matt turned to me and he's like, I can't believe you're making me watch this movie. You can't believe you made me watch that.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And I'm like, I know. And it got to me to think that I don't think they would do that these days. Like, absolutely. I think that's something that has changed a lot in these movies. That they would never have something like an animal cruelty thing. I think that they might have her drop him off in a park, or drive it away, or whatever. They definitely wouldn't have shown her kicking the dog or shoving the dog away, and definitely not shown a dead dog on the sidewalk. No, I know. Oh,
I do think the dead dog on the sidewalk they would show, and they didn't show her throwing him off.
No, of course not.
Which is right.
Obviously,
that is what happened. Yeah, and I think and I actually liked the manicness of Bridget Fonda, like connecting all the dots and freaking out. And then I love, as dark as that scene is, I think it's so well done with Sam and Hetty saying, I thought we could open the window. I thought you fixed it. And it's played so
well done.
Layered and really well done. And very sad.
Really
for
sad.
Poor Buddy. And you notice I've never seen, this is I think something that I was like, oh, they took a selfie. I don't think I saw that too often in movies. Where they're laying on the bed with the dog and she has the Instamatic camera.
Yeah.
And nails the picture, which I think is hard to do with the nose. Yeah, right.
That's the Instamatic camera though. I like that. That's a good throwback.
I liked how the flip for Allie's tolerance of Hetty was when she was in the bathroom, I don't know, looking at herself in the mirror after, again, being with Sam. Yes. And as she's looking at herself, she overhears Hetty talking to Sam and giggling. Yes. And the look on her face and that, and didn't remember that. I didn't remember that that was the flip where it was I don't like Hetty.
Yeah, that's it. We're all done.
Isn't it funny? It's like, you're flirting with my man while he's laying naked in bed at the door. All giggles. I think she was just wearing underwear and a t-shirt.
She was wearing a robe that was open.
Open. That's right.
Yep. And I don't know if she had a top on underneath this. I think she had underwear, but she was definitely letting it fly open, and and I would have been just as upset about that. That's crossing a line for sure. And I don't understand the motivation for that. So I think what else do I have to say? Anyway, so after watching it and thinking back, so when I first watched it, it was Hetty wanting her twin back. Yes. Right? Yeah. But after watching it now, it's really odd. I still have a little bit of that feeling, but I was also thinking, did she just want to take over her life? Did she just want to be Bridget Fonda's character. And what switched it for me is when she got that horrible haircut.
Oh my God.
Which it just sends chills up your spine.
Yeah.
When she starts walking down, and then all of a sudden, and Bridget Fonda's like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." Yeah. And you feel that terror as she's walking down. It reminds me of the Fatal Attraction scene when he comes home and they're talking and he hears the voice talking.
Yeah.
Same kind of chilling situation.
It's so chilling. And good, sorry.
But she has that haircut, and then she goes out. Remember that scene when she goes to the club and she's as Allie.
Yes, and she's saying, it reminded me so much of my ex-boyfriend. Yeah.
Yes, and so it was, and then she does the whole thing with Sam, which was, oh my God, we can talk about that scene. That was amazing. But it made me feel like, oh my gosh, I think she wants to be her. And then even at the end, when she's, at the very end, when she's talking about her and she's saying, well, nobody knows I exist. And, the doorman said goodbye to you. Like, they saw you at Sam's place. Right. And so you need to leave with me. I feel like there was a little bit more to that. Like, not necessarily just being her twin, but becoming her.
Yeah. That is where, as an adult, or as an older person now, I think that's where the movie got a little convoluted for me. And I didn't quite grasp the motivation. I think what happened, my interpretation, because I think I really liked what you just said too, is my interpretation of that was, shit, my plan is not working. Right. Now I need to do something. So I think it was the flirting with Sam, I think it was she just, I don't know if it was she wanted to be her. I think it was almost like a matchy thing. It's well, if she does it, I'm going to do it. And because she is essentially this 9-year-old girl still that's trying to fill this piece. And I think what she's trying to do is be so agreeable, and the more agreeable she is, the more actually distant Bridget Fonda gets, and then she gets mad, and she's like, well, this isn't working. Yes. I need a new strategy. And Sam is the one pulling her away from me. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to fuck this up. I'm going to try and get Sam to flirt with me, to hold me, to kiss me, I'll make breakfast for him, and I will ruin Sam. I'll ruin Sam again, or I'll ruin Sam again, and then it'll just be the two, me and Allie again. Mm-hmm. But it's very convoluted. It's convoluted, convoluted. You're absolutely right, because it's almost like the film loses its focus on Hetty, on what her real purpose was from the beginning. Yeah, it loses that, and because it's in one sense, she's trying to lure Sam away, but that's not going to strengthen the friendship at all. That's right. If he cheats with Hetty, it's not going to make Allie like Hetty more. So what you should have done is sort of set it up so that he's framed with someone else or something. The fact that she goes to his apartment and basically rapes him is what it is. Yeah, right. Which I have to tell you, that scene was just unbelievable. I felt he played that amazing. Do you agree with that? Yeah. Because he was completely, no pun intended, blown away. Yes. By what just happened. Mm-hmm. And he's laying there trying to make sense of what the hell just happened. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was crazy. And obviously, it ends up with him being killed, and that's probably maybe a turning point for her. Maybe she didn't mean to kill him. But going back, she overheard through the vent Bridget Fonda, Allie, talking with Graham and saying she's crazy. They're both saying she's crazy. Yes. We got to get rid of her. If you don't call the cops, I will. Uh-huh. So, I mean, that, to me, I think that she realized at that point that they're not going to be friends. Maybe that was the point where she flipped, because it was because that's when she went over to remember. So Sam, because I misplaced the chronological before I started watching it again.
It's hard to do because there was so much going on.
Yeah, and I misremembered. I thought the Sam thing happened before the Graham thing happened. And I was wrong about that. And so, because Sam was away, then he comes back, and he's like, tell her to surprise me. She sleeps with the phone, which is like just so... Like, she takes the phone in her bedroom because she's afraid of the father calling back at that point. I mean, but I'll tell you this, that like after the haircut, I had to go back and take notes. Like, I was just like in it. Like, suddenly, like that scene, the haircut and the hairstyle, it takes on a different... The whole movie just starts going down a roller coaster. It just becomes so insane. You can't... Every little step... and when I started, like, back in the day, I remember thinking it was just funny. I remember thinking it was funny that, like, oh my gosh, she got the same haircut, and that's scary, but, like, it's comical. Like, when they're walking down the street together, it's hilarious to see side by side.
Yes.
As an adult, I'm like, oh my god, this is really fucked up. Like, that...
Imagine how she felt walking next to someone who, like, is exactly...
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that... Because that hairstyle and the color is so unique. You're not talking about, like, a brown bob. Right. You're talking about, like, this really ultra short, chic hairstyle that's, like, orange, practically. Mm-hmm. So it's a very unique look to begin with. So.
Yeah. I think, so we're doing some cat management here.
Speaking of, can I just mention the cat in Graham's apartment?
Oh, yeah, that's such a cat. Like, when he was laying on him in the bathtub.
Did you love that? It was such a great detail.
Yeah.
Because we could have just forgotten that he had a cat, right? At that point, or the cat could have died or whatever. Who knows? But, so, he's in the bathtub, like, passed out or whatever, knocked out.
Knocked out, and she clearly dragged him into the tub.
Tub. And the cat is laying there on top of him. Such a sweet moment.
Yes.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Made up for the dog moment, I think.
Yeah. And I think also true to a cat.
Right. Oh, totally.
That's what a cat
someone
would do.
really thought about that scene and said, no, we need to put the cat on top of him. Like, it really drove that home. It was great.
I will say, since we're talking about kinder, funnier, or, nicer moments, that phone call, that I will say this is probably the only time I liked Hetty in this whole movie, like, as like a device, was she, Bridget Fonda Allie gets basically sexually assaulted or felt up by the guy.
That was creepy.
And then she punches him in the balls, whatever. And then she goes back and she's like, it's the contacts. So, like, now he's gonna trash me, like, ruin me, and I don't have the contacts anymore, and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, oh, Allie.
Yeah.
Like, laughs, and she like calls.
It's like such a little problem.
Yeah. She's like, and she just like goes into her purse, finds the card, his business card, calls him, and she's like, look, no, you listen to me this time. If you go around trashing, I didn't write it down, but I remember.
But remember, she was pretending to be her.
Her, right? She's like, yeah. She's like, is your husband? She's like, is your husband home? Yes, I know it's late. Tell him it's Allison Jones. He'll take my call. And she's like, listen, no, you listen to me this time. And she's like, if you go around trashing my name, you're fucked. Yeah. And she's like, and your family's fucked too. Oh my god, it was like, but I laughed out loud.
So
it's so good.
It was so good.
And
but do you think that was a precursor to her
goes,
pretending to be her?
Right. And then she goes, of course, she's like, geez, I hope you never get mad at me.
Yeah, and she had that kind of scared look on her face when she said that, too.
Yeah.
She's like kind of joking, but at the same time, like, very serious.
Yeah. And...
So the guy was effectively creepy. And I did like that little side storyline. Like, it seems a little bit out in left field, but I did like that whole little... I mean, that's one of the things I definitely remembered, how she had the little safety on her program.
That was great.
I remembered that from the last... Like, that was one of my favorite scenes. Like, oh, yes.
And she actually says it.
Yes.
When she talks to Hetty, she's like,
oh, I'm not worried about that.
I'm not worried about that. Yeah. It's up, so he has to pay. Okay. One thing about these kinds of movies, and this is where it's like the, when I watched it, I was like, come on. Allie, so, oh my God. Hetty goes to take a shower.
Yes.
Allie is very suspicious.
Oh, I hate it. I know what you're going to say.
She walks into Hetty's bedroom and finds the shoebox, or the box. Now, I know we used to be roommates.
Yes.
But I think if I ever suspected that you had some sort of issue and I walked into your room and started taking shit, I don't think I would go through it in your room. I would take it.
Of course not.
And I go into my room.
Scary. It's like, of course, I would literally, so when I lived with you, I would take your stuff and I would go into my own bathroom and lock myself in the bathroom. I mean, that's what you do. You don't just put it out on your bed.
She sits down. I know, she sits down and she's like, dude, pictures, keys, opening letters. I'm like, girl, she's taking a shower. It's going to be in like 10 minutes.
You suspect she's psychotic.
You don't sit in her room. Take it and run.
Oh my gosh, I hate that. I hate those scenes. It drives me crazy. They're in like every movie.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. And of course, it's intended to drive you crazy.
Of course.
But
it's
come
still
on.
terrifying.
She's a smart woman. She could figure that out.
Imagine this. Like, imagine she took the box, went into her own room, closed and locked the door, and found all of these horrible things that she finds.
Right.
And she's locked in her room, and Hetty's out there. And she's like, what if she was like...
Standing by the door when she opens it?
Yeah. Or she's like, Allie, have you seen a box? Like, I mean, what if, like, Allie somehow gets it back into her room? No, she would be standing and she'd say,
where's my box?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like, because it's like, essentially, it's the same, almost the same sort of results, just delayed. Sure. So it's like, I get it, but it's like, I mean,
it's so much more suspenseful.
Take it. Just take
hearing the water in the background.
It is.
And then they shut the water off, and she has like 1,000 things to put in. And she's doing one at a time. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just grab them all and throw them in there. Who cares if it's meat?
Oh. Can you kill a person by ramming a stiletto heel? Probably.
I guess if it was a long heel, perhaps it would go to the brain if it was the right angle.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was creepy. I kind of forgot about that one.
Yeah. I did kind of question if she was, I don't know, not strong enough, but swift enough. Because remember when she hits Graham? First of all, I mean, no lie, Graham and Sam.
I know, right?
But she hits Graham with the bar that is for safety on his door, and she kind of hits him like not very hard.
Right.
It's not super convincing. I'm gonna be honest. That's like a one flaw.
Yes.
And then the maybe because it was in slow motion, it didn't look the stiletto scene was a little bit in slow motion, so it didn't look as crazy.
And he was lunging at her at the same time.
True. Maybe.
So there could have been a little bit of extra force involved. That was gross, though. What a way.
Yeah.
And then she walks. She didn't clean it off or anything. She just like takes it and puts it back on her foot.
I know.
She was completely psychotic.
Yeah. I love the scene where. So you want to talk about that scene? Because that is such a crazy scene where she goes in, gets into bed with him.
So crazy, and I felt it was really well done. Mm-hmm. It was so creepy. Mm-hmm. And what I liked about that scene, and I gave him a lot of credit, was he's half asleep, and then obviously, so this for those who haven't seen it, she crawls into bed with him in the middle of the night and proceeds to perform oral sex on him. And he's half asleep. I mean, he's asleep at first, and then he's half asleep, and he's enjoying himself, of course. But I do appreciate the fact that he kind of realized it wasn't Allie. Mm-hmm. Like, thank you for recognizing that she might have a different technique or something. Right? Like, I'm like, I would like to think that if Matt was being seduced by someone, he thought it was me or whatever, had like a Christina costume on or whatever, that he would realize that it wasn't me during the act.
Yeah.
And he did. And then when she ever looked up and said, no, not Allie.
Yeah.
And then finishes, ah!
Gross.
Oh my gosh. And you could tell he was like trying to get away, but then it was like, ah. And then he was just like mortified that it actually, like, that he
His
finished.
reactions were, I think, very, very good. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. I will say I loved the scene where...
We are not killing a cat. No cats have been harmed during this podcast.
God, he's really really bad.
He's being very...
and he's not only meowing, everyone. He is meowing and then, like, walking around and meowing again. So I can't even,
He's like, I'm here.
If anyone wants a cat, oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
I thought you were going to say old cat. Old cat.
Yeah, oldroommatespod@gmail.com to the highest bidder.
Yeah, he's a cutie.
Sorry
He's
about
kind
that.
of being a pain today.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so
he has a lot to say.
I do love the scene. It's one of my favorite scenes. Is when, and it's mostly a directing technique, is when Allie is in black silhouette getting dressed. Now she finds out, and this is a little bit of bullshit because she finds out about Sam on the news.
Oh my gosh, that's one of the things.
And they interrupt the show. I mean,
listen,
it's a morning news break.
Yes, all of that is ridiculous. But the number one problem I have with that, not that there was a homicide in New York and she's finding out about it in the middle of the Today Show,
rare.
like literally 10 minutes later, like after it happened. Like, first of all, how did all that happen? But anyways, the fact that they said, oh, it happened in apartment 612. Like, they're not going to say the apartment number.
Yeah,
They would never say the apartment number.
Yeah.
And she's like, 612, oh my goodness, or whatever it was.
I think it would have been enough to, like, she has the hotel, the awning is right there, so she sees that, and right off the bat she's like, And, I mean, but also, it says, for this morning news break. And also, it's early 90s in New York City. Mm-hmm. They're not going to interrupt anything because of a murder.
Right.
Like, unless they truly suspected there was a serial killer on the loose. Like, there's no, yes. There's a suspect.
I think it should have been that she sees, fine, maybe the news break and you see the apartment and she knows that that's where he is. Mm-hmm. And maybe she's concerned, doesn't automatically jump to the fact that, oh my God, my boyfriend's been murdered.
Right.
But maybe calls to check on him. Like, calls him to check on him.
She does.
And then, but I mean, so all of that works. I don't like the apartment number situation.
Yes, right.
And then, like, still not 100% sure if it was actually him, but like maybe, they say there's been an accident or whatever. Yeah. There should have been some other way of her being concerned, and then maybe Hetty confirming it somehow or having some sort of other confirmation some other way.
Yeah. The other thing because when it does that, it opens up the door to, like, then where are the cops? Because the cops would ask the person at the front desk, and he would say the only visitor he had was Allison Jones. Right. The cops are pretty slow. You're telling me the newscaster is quicker than the cops?
Right.
I mean, if it's that dire of a killing, then they would have woken her up that morning. It wouldn't have been. She wouldn't have been able to make a smoothie and watch the news that morning. I mean, like, come on.
Right.
So that didn't really add up to me. I completely agree. There should have been another way of her finding that out. One more thing. So that scene I like though is when she's in black silhouette and she finds out and she's getting dressed. But, like, Bridget Fonda is all in black, like black shadow, and Jennifer Jason Leigh's, like, walking in the room, and she's like, I know why you're upset. It's about Sam. And then everything just starts going great. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
So, do you have... so I think we should talk about the ending. Do you have anything else before we talk about the ending? Because I think we should take a break before we talk about the ending, because there's a lot going on.
Okay. Let me see. At one point she cracks her knuckles. Did you catch that?
No.
Oh my God. So Allie is telling her, she's like, Sam, Sam and I are getting back together, and she cracks. I
missed that.
It's so great. Loud.
So great.
That's right before she says, "You're so fucking weak." I'm like, that would have been a moment where I'd been like, "Get out of my apartment."
I know,
right?
they're good.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments.
Let's not be. Yeah, let's just get around.
Also, one thing I didn't notice then that I absolutely notice now: there's no artwork on these walls. There's no paint on these walls. And I'm sure, I know it's a deliberate choice of the filmmakers, but, I mean, Allie's, like, really fashionable and sophisticated. I feel like
Yes.
I feel like she would have done some work to that apartment.
Maybe it was a way to like kind of magnify her loneliness too.
Yeah.
So it was, established early on that she did not have any family or friends, and that Sam was her only life. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's just sort of something that's saying, okay, look at how lonely she is. She's in this big apartment
with nothing.
And with nothing.
Yeah, like her bed's still on the floor, and so there's like things that suggest she just moved in, I guess. Anyway, so let's take a break.
Okay, and then we can talk about the ending.
Yeah, and then we'll be back.
Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show. And we're back.
Yes.
Talking about single white female.
We are back.
And we should jump into the ending and then get into our questions.
Yes, and I will say I am very happy that I am now a married woman and do not need to worry about roommates anymore. There you go. That's big.
I think I'm a decent judge of character, and I'm also can be a very evil bitch. So I think I would be good at deducing, like a bad. In fact, actually, I should probably be careful saying this because we're going to be landlords. Like, we're going to do like a landlord hiring, a tenant search.
Well, I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll fast forward a couple of years from now and see if you
that.
are, in fact, a good judge.
Think you have to. I mean, I think you are too. I think you're a good judge of character, and I think we would be able to sniff that kind of craziness out. So, just a couple things with the ending from me. There are two scenes, and I don't know where this comes from or why, but there's two very similar scenes where someone grabs someone's head in a headlock and bangs their head on a wall or on the floor.
Yeah,
and
it seemed to be the move.
How necks... First of all, it's very like WWF. Like, it's very wrestling, but it's also like not... Like, your neck can't move that way.
Right.
Like, it's like... So, Graham does it to Hetty, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
that
in the
was
hallway.
great.
That whole scene is wild.
That was really nice, and it was a nice surprise that he hadn't been killed.
Yes. Yeah.
I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
So that was a nice thought.
And then Hetty does it to Allie in the elevator. Well, she takes her head and bashes it into the elevator wall, which just looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like after something like that, you wouldn't just stay in the game. I think you'd be really hurt or have a concussion, and you'd probably pass out. I don't know. It just look at both of those scenes are like, ouch, my neck and my head.
Yes.
And that was kind of like the big thing for me. I also didn't quite think that the only way to outwit Hetty is to be like Spider-Woman. And like,
that was a little strange.
Right? That was just weird. Like, she chose to go up into the, like, sort of the vent and then jump down and stab her in the back. Like, I don't know if that was that, although I laughed my ass off when she tossed the rat on
Well,
Hetty.
I don't understand why she did that. Like, so, all right. So I had a little problem with the ending only because it was so long. Do you realize it was like 45 minutes long, the ending?
It is long.
It was a very long ending, and I only remember that because when I put it on, I wanted to make sure I knew how long it was.
Yeah.
And I looked at the clock, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. It's fine. And then it was around 10 o'clock when Matt went to bed, and I'm like, oh, there's still like another 45 minutes. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And then that's when all like the ending started happening.
When do you think the ending starts? Like, at what point? That's a really good question. Like, when do you think the ending of this movie starts?
I felt like it was starting to wrap up, like starting to, get to the climax of it or whatever, when it was after Sam had been killed. And so, and Hetty comes and says, you have to come with me. Like when she says, they think it's you're going to have to come with me. Okay. And then that, to me, was like, okay, here we go. Yeah. Like, the crazy is out. She knows it. Something. Here comes the big moment.
Yeah.
And she gets kidnapped and everything else. They go up to Graham's apartment, and then she's like duct taped to the thing, right?
Makes her write a suicide note.
Right. Well, but even before that,
yeah.
she turns up the radio. So the police come. They almost save her.
It's not the police. It's like the janitor.
Oh, the landlord.
The janitor and the neighbor next door.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So whatever. They come and they're about to, break it all over.
Yeah, yeah.
Then the sexual predator,
Shows
boss
up,
guy, shows up. He almost saves the day. Then Graham wakes up from the bathtub. Yeah. He almost saves the day. I'm like, enough already. Let's get this going. And then, like, I get why they did it, but it was like, oh my God, enough. Like, it just made it so long for me. I'm like, I just need this to wrap it up.
Interesting.
And so then they finally leave together and they get into the elevator. And I'm sorry, but there was a lot of foreshadowing there. Like, when she said you need the screwdriver to close it, I'm like, that is going to be used as a weapon. From the very beginning, she's like, oh yeah, you need the screwdriver to close it. Yeah. I'm like, that's definitely going to be used as a weapon. And then even like the grate, like the, the vent, when he could hear them having sex.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's going to be the downfall.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was a couple of little...
Well, you heard them fighting in the very beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was like, stopped reading his book to listen, which was a bit disturbing.
Yeah. Well, I think
I probably would have done that too. Yeah.
For
sure. Probably, depending on the book.
No question.
But yeah, but here's the thing. I just respectfully disagree with you. I was in it. I was really into it. I was into it then, into it now. Again, I think my only big concern is just her motivation. Mm-hmm. But I think it's because her plan was just being fucked up. And she's like, you're just like that girl in Memphis. Oh no, Tampa. You're like that girl in Tampa. She wouldn't keep my secrets or whatever she was like. And she found out my secrets. And like she was like unraveling. Completely. And I thought... That's where you think the Jennifer Jason Leigh, I think that's when it's like, oh shit. When she's like, oh my God. And she's taped to the chair and she goes into the other room and she starts like flinging like knives around.
Yes.
And just the look on Bridget Fonda's face.
She's like, I'm dead.
Is terrified. She's like, I'm going to die. And then the knife marks in her neck.
Oh my God.
It's so, there is so much that's good. And even though ultimately it's like
such a creepy scene.
This crazy stalkery thing, but like, slasher, sort of horror movie. But it's like, I don't know how else it's what it was going for. It was what it wanted to be. I agree. It's long. Like, that is
that's like very long. It was over
it's
and over.
35% of the movie is the quote unquote ending.
Yeah, it was 45 minutes long. It was
it's a little lopsided, but I was invested and I really was like, how is this? This is just going to end pretty badly.
It was very, very crazy.
Yeah, but
how is she going to get out of this? Like,
that's right. But I did think the acting was just top notch. Like,
through
all the sort of ridiculous parts.
No question at all. The fight, I did like the fight between the two of them at the end. You know what? I will say one thing I just remembered. How about that creepy scene when Jennifer Jason Leigh goes down to the basement, gets that big suitcase, and crawls into it to see if she can fit?
Yeah.
Like, it was so creepy.
Yeah.
It was like a 2-second
scene. Will a body fit in here?
Yeah, it was so creepy. So anyway, but yeah, the scene.
And the confidence, by the way, this slickness of her just destroying stuff just absolutely suggests that she's done this before.
Oh yeah,
she's like a little too smooth.
She has definitely done this before.
And did you notice, and I love this, I noticed it then and now, she grabs the doorknobs with her nightgown.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's
so she's grabbing everything with her dress. So it's like she's not leaving
like
fingers. She's cleaned the whole place out with her fingerprints. And then so when she has to like re-enter, everything is like she's grabbing. It's very subtle, but there
were a lot of really great little details that way. They really paid a lot of attention to the details in this movie. It was great. But yeah, and the only other thing. Oh, and then when she comes out with a hook, remember that?
Yeah,
she comes out like, I wrote hook. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Like of all things to murder somebody with, a hook. That was great. It was very. I mean, it was very, very long. Just there were too many near misses for me, but it did make it very suspenseful.
Yeah,
and it could have been that it was a little bit late, and I wasn't expecting. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of was tired.
It's exhausting. It's a certain level of energy.
Yeah, I needed. If I started it a little bit earlier, I might have felt a little differently. I thought the epilogue was strange when she's like talking about the rest of it, like
about forgiveness and that. Hetty never forgave herself for her sister's death.
Yeah, it was a little bit too hand-holding for me. Like, we could have just kind of come up with our own little assessment of Hetty, and I think it would have been more interesting to be able to do that. Like, why did she do it? And
because it's not about survivors' guilt; it's about being alone,
right?
And it did. I agree. I don't think it was necessary.
It was not necessary. It was weird to me. I'm like, ugh, I didn't.
Because actually, what it did is like it was like, oh shit, poor Hetty, right? It was kind of like, oh, poor Hetty. She was so confused, and she had, I guess, personality disorder. But but it does that little ending, little monologue. It flips it from a scary stalker situation to let's feel bad for Hetty for a minute. And I thought that was weird too.
And what's interesting too, when you just said that loneliness part, it does sort of bring to light, like, okay, you can be alone, and so because Allie was alone, and she was pretty okay with it, sort of. I mean, think about, like, I guess she wasn't really great with being alone, but she obviously moved here without any friends, without any family, and then she met Sam, and it was almost like saying, I'm okay being alone. Whereas Hetty, I mean, apparently she had family and people who cared for her or whatever, and she was clearly not okay with being alone. So, I don't know, it was just sort of like, kind of pulled those two similar situations, kind of gave them that common...
Well, and it's like that, and I also will tie it into when she goes into Hetty's room and tries on the perfume. There is the movie does that interesting thing in the beginning where it's like, Allie's not exactly Miss Innocent.
No, she was in her room more than Hetty was in her room.
Yeah. Like, not even 2 weeks in, she's snooping around. So, yeah, it was just... did you like it?
I did.
Did you like it more or less
I liked
than before?
It. I think I liked it more. I appreciated all of the other stuff. Like, I appreciated... I mean, I liked it before, so it's kind of hard to say, but I had forgotten a lot about it. Yeah. And I did. I think I liked it as much.
I liked it probably with the same, because what bothered me, different things, there were a couple of things that irked me even though I saw it twice in the movie theater was like, I thought the ending was a bit crazy with the screwdriver being stabbed from the upside down. Like, I mean, it was a little elaborate for no reason at all. Right. She could have jumped out
Well, it's like what I
dresser.
said before with like the rat. Like, she didn't need to throw the rat down. If she threw the rat down, maybe she just wanted to make sure she was killed or something, but she could have just hid up there. And Hetty wouldn't have known where she was.
Oh, but I think she was also afraid of the rat. I mean, if you fucking... I'm sorry. If you say... even when you're in the subway in New York and you see a giant rat... Because those rats will run right up to you. Like, and so she was like, I don't want to get bit by a fucking rat. And so she probably hit the rat.
Oh, I didn't see
I don't know
that
if
way.
she was going... Do you think she hit the rat on her... So that the rat would attack her?
Kind of. That's kind of what I was thinking she was doing. And that's why it was confusing to me. I'm like, why are you throwing a rat at her? She doesn't even know you're up there.
You don't want rats near you. Really quick, Whoopi Goldberg was I think an original choice from the director for Allie, which is funny since it's called Single White Female. And Carl pointed that out. So I was like, hun, Whoopi Goldberg was like Barbie Schroeder's.
Well, clearly that was before they had the title.
But it's based on a book. It's just a book called Single White Female. So, I mean, they would have done some.
They would have had to do. Yeah. Well, one thing that I found very sad was I looked up Bridget Fonda. I'm like, what has she been up to lately? She left Hollywood in 2003 and hasn't been seen since.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I don't think she's like a missing persons report or anything. But
Carl mentioned he's like, well, she hasn't really done much.
She hasn't done anything since 2003.
Yeah.
She did some weird like Snow Queen show or something like a.
She was in. I remember her in like Point of No Return. She was in a movie called.
Well, she was in Singles on the same year as Single White Female, actually.
Yeah,
but I thought she was so good, and of course she's famous because she is Peter Fonda's daughter, Henry Fonda's grandchild, Jane Fonda's niece. Like, so she's comes from all that Hollywood. So maybe she was just done with Hollywood. Maybe she was. brought into it because of her family and decided that's just not for her. But she got married and had a baby and left and never returned to acting.
You know what? Good for her. She's awesome in this, though.
She is awesome. I really like her.
What do you think? Question time?
Question time, yes, definitely. What did I do with my questions? Here it is. Okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
If you were to kill Shorty... Hetty style. No,
well, I noticed he hasn't made a... I haven't seen him in the past.
All right. So minutes. It's going to be a fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
FMK. I think these are pretty... I think that the only three that we could pick is Sam, Graham, Boss Man.
Oh, God. So...
And I think I know.
All right. I would kill Boss Man.
Mm-hmm.
I would... I'd marry Graham.
Mm-hmm. Yay!
And then, I think that's, I wouldn't want to marry Sam. I think that he would cheat.
No, I have to agree with Hetty on that. I think he is I think he would cheat all over again.
I do kind of have that
when Hetty's crying about Buddy, and he goes to hug her, like, he didn't resist too much. Like, when she tries to, kiss.
Yeah, it seemed to me like if she tried one more time, it probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
Even like holding onto the hand as they're closing the door.
He seemed easily... He seems easily manipulated.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good one. So I got it right.
So good job. So my question to you is, it's a multiple choice. Okay. What do you think Hetty's worst action was? Okay.
Oh, okay.
So here's the multiple choice.
Yeah.
Number 1, raping Sam.
God. That's awful. I'm not laughing about rape, but that's awful.
Clearly, you're laughing about rape. Number 2, killing the dog.
Okay.
Number 3, making Allie write her own suicide note.
Mm. Oh, there's 4?
And number 4, getting that awful haircut.
The dog.
The dog.
Yeah. Is that what you thought I would say?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought you would say.
I mean, because it's a defenseless little animal.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam...
It was kind of an easy one for me to guess for you.
Yeah. And the other stuff is like, the hair, it's funny about the haircut. I think it really suited Bridget Fonda. And I think that's why, I did like it on Bridget Fonda. I think that's what made it
it looked so awkward. It looked like
Jennifer
she had it did not suit her at all.
She's like, I love myself like this. And she's like, have fun. She's like, I love myself like this.
Yeah,
it's so creepy. It's so good. See the movie. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it from my local library. So shout out to libraries. Yeah.
I'm telling you, all of these episodes, I think most of the movies that we have had on this podcast, I've been able to find at the library.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
And that is it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please. If you have an idea for the show, a suggestion, or a comment, email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Till next time.